Hello, my name is Griselda Suárez. I'm the Executive Director of the Arts Council for Long Beach. I am born and raised in East Los Angeles, and I've been living in Long Beach now for almost 20 years. Griselda, as a little girl, talked and walked down Brooklyn Avenue in Boyle Heights. And I am an artist, I am a teacher, I'm a poet, and I am very proud of the herencia my parents gave me to stay connected to community all the time and to family all the time. One of the reasons why I wanted to move to Long Beach was to teach at Cal State Long Beach. I've been in the Chicana Latino Studies department since I moved. Yes, it was one of the reasons why I wanted to move because I wanted to teach writing in Chicano Latino Studies. So that's a big part of how I'm connected. And I also wanted to see how I could help the community. I was connected to the Arts Council in 2014 with some friends. Brian Trimble definitely connected me and other folks. And I had grant writing experience. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to write out grants and help people. And since then, the Arts Council says you need to belong here. So I've been here. I joined the board, then I became executive director, and I see myself as a resource, an advocate for people. And it was really beautiful on one of my first days to have Latina women come up to me and say, me da tanto orgullo que estés allí, que tengo algo con quien platicar y hablar y discutir y tener anhelos y sueños. It was such a beautiful night to be told that, and so it's a reminder, and it's how I connect. When anyone asks how I identify, I say I'm Chicana, and then I say, and I'm a Chicana with an X. So what that means is that I spell Chicana XI, and it's important for me because that's a reminder of my indigenous roots. My parents were immigrants to Los Angeles. My dad is from Michoacan, my mom is from Jalisco, and we know our roots, you know, Purepecha and Coca, and they used to argue on which indigenous word was correct when they're like, no, it's this word, and no, it's this word. So I grew up speaking English, Spanish, and whatever indigenous word they taught me, not even knowing that it was indigenous, right? That's the word in my house. And so I'm Chicana, and I wear that proudly. I think often at this time, we know we're in fall, we're preparing for Dia de Muertos. I think of my ancestors and my families and the people who have passed recently. It's time to prepare and welcome them. And I continue traditions, including gardening. My grandma's taught me how to garden, and it's a really important part of who I am. I was in high school um, when Prop 187 was on the ballot in California, and there are many protest memories I have. Some with my family, some with my mom, some with my friends, but definitely marching down Brooklyn Avenue and marching through the tunnels of downtown LA and hearing the roar and the voices of everyone protesting 187 and coming out of the tunnel on a summer day. It was quite magical, and I remember that often when I drive through that tunnel. And we came out of the tunnel, and there was light, and there was people cheering, and there was flags. A huge flag rolled down. That's one of my favorite memories of growing up in LA, and very much connected to my Chicana identity. Um, there's also so many great memories I have of downtown LA. And here in Long Beach, I think one of the really special memories I have is going in its inaugural year to Mola with my mom, and it was a little tiny thing, but that was also something I'll cherish forever. Being Chicana in the United States, of America is very interesting. I can talk hours upon it. I mean, I also teach it, so I could lecture on this. Uh, I think most, like right now, as a Chicana, at this point in my life, um, it is a constant battle, all the time. And there is very little room to give on so many levels, on the personal, on the professional, on the communal. There are a lot of expectations, and so I think we are, I should say, I am in a place where being a Chicana is about remembering, but also realizing that we need to change um, how we continue to do our work. And it's hard. And so I know that I will continue to be one of the few vocal Latinas in a space for several years to come. And we need to take care of each other, just like our abuelitos and abuelitas taught us, or our ninos, or our tios, whoever that person was, about how to take care and move forward. Um, there's a lot of work to do. When you ask me about giving advice to younger, Latinx, Latined, Latino, Chicano, there's many ways of expression. I see myself in that group too because I know that I work with elders in the community who see me as the younger generation. There's also people even younger than me doing work in the community, and there are things that I truly believe as a community, as a group of people, um, that we need to move past. One of them is colonization. We need to move away from colonized terms, move away from colonized mentality, and embrace um, our indigenous culture and history, which is in us and has survived for hundreds of years. That definitely needs to happen. And um, if it's me as a 45-year-old telling someone who's 70 because they see me as that young person pushing the boundaries, I just need to show up to them as my authentic self. And that is something um, that's become more important. So if someone younger than me is listening, I say show up as your authentic self, um, but always do it with a little grace, because we're always learning constantly. Representation to me nowadays is not enough. I know that for years we clawed and fought and yelled at, can I see a reflection of me? And so now the question is, we need more than a reflection. We need people behind the camera. We need people on the script. We need people on the finance. We need people all around. It's not going to solve the issue of like who we are because we're such a large umbrella. It's not going to give us a defined identity ever, but I think it changes in a way that I can't even predict. It's just going to be different, and I think that's what we need. So representation is good, but there are other inclusive ways to be better. So um okay, let me think. Well, okay, so if I were to choose my favorite food, I would have a very difficult time, but I know like sometimes I crave yuca prepared a certain way with mojo. Sometimes I crave Peruvian ceviche versus Mexican ceviche. Sometimes I crave mole. The one thing I crave often, and if I don't, I guess this is my favorite food. If I go a few days without this, I start running around my house trying to find it or have to go to the store to buy it, and that's corn. If it's a corn chip, if it's a corn tortilla, if it's corn masa, if it's corn bread, I need corn. I need it. So I guess that's my favorite food. It is now 3 years since we all went home and had to pivot our lives and our work. And so at the Arts Council for Long Beach, we're now working at getting back into schools, getting back into community, getting back into um, community events, and into galleries. And that is where we're doing right now. How to get back into some of our regular programming, if we can even use that word. um, I'm very happy and proud of the work the staff has done. Everyone from the public art department, working in the Washington community and in District 7, and um, working on the map over the years. It's amazing work. And arts learning, going beyond the classroom, is the one thing that somehow these last 3 years pushed us to, with something we always wanted to do, but we're like, let's go beyond the classroom. So now we're in parks and after school programs and in other nonprofits. Um, our grants keep growing for our artists and performers and community leaders. So there is work. We never stopped working. For anyone out there, we never stopped working. The team has worked very hard these last 3 years. I think it's important to acknowledge that, and people see that artists and performers stepped up even when they weren't getting paid. And so now it's about healing and readjusting, and we are better and okay. And let's take a breath and move forward. I will. We have some really fabulous events coming up at the Billie Jean King Library, October 15th. We're going to be doing a mural in the Washington community. We're going to be all over town, so watch out on social media and our newsletters, and hope to join us. I recently was having a conversation with some friends about how I became executive director, and there is no path for me. For so for artists of my generation, um, you know, first generation daughter of immigrants, first to go to college, um, first to go to graduate school, first to move away from home. There's a lot of firsts that we dealt with. Um, and we were also first to tell some counselors who have no idea how to work with us, saying, well, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. I understand that, a lot of folks in the early Chicana movement did that for us. And there were some careers that you were just supposed to do. And then we started breaking that mold. So I feel like I had to forge a path for myself and force it at times, sculpt it, teach others about what is possible for me. It wasn't easy and it wasn't a straight path. So if you want to get into nonprofit work, I would say volunteer. If you want to work in community, just do it. There are internship possibilities for sure. If you don't want to go to graduate school for art, then just practice every day. Create a collective, get people together, show your work together. If you want to be an arts advocate, there's a wonderful program that the county has called Activate LA. It's an LA County funded Arts for LA program, and you can learn about the arts and culture sector. The Getty has an internship program. There's ways to learn, but it doesn't have to be a straight path. And I think many times for people of color, it's never a straight path. So just reach out and be yourself, and respect those who did it before you, those who opened the door, those who kept it open, and just reach that goal of yours. I know that the Heritage Month has happened for many years. And now that I think about it, I know that growing up in LA, I was going to concerts during Heritage Month, not knowing it was Heritage Month. I just wanted to go see Los Bookies. And so I didn't know. um, and I wanted to go dance the night away, right? Now I understand how it all worked. But I think, if anything, this month, for recognizing our heritage, is that Herencia goes beyond, um, the month, and it goes beyond the nice whatever color product is being sold to us this month, and that practicing our herencia is also breaking it down and seeing all the different parts and seeing the spectrum of our families. Again, my family is the spectrum of Mexico. We have all of it. And if anything, acknowledge it this month.